Hello and welcome to Inside the Mind of a Very Average Rental Karter. Today we are at NRW Kartmasters in Oldenzaal. The format of today is very straightforward. We will have one practice session and 4 one-lap dash qualifyings, followed by 4 heats of roughly 40 minutes each. We will jump straight into it with Heat 1. I'm graded up as 7th, which is my highest grid position I had in the 3 attempts that I now had in this championship. This immediately made me a bit nervous, but at the same time it also gave me confidence, as I felt pretty good on it. But we are not even 2 corners into the first race and I already make my first mistake. I cover up my inside and basically defense against a ghost, as there was nobody there, costing me a lot of exit speed, and this number 13 takes full advantage of this. This was for me a confusing moment and maybe a bit of the race defining moment as well. The car suddenly lost power. We were told on the briefings that this could happen in case of a full course yellow. What I didn't know is that it would be better to just keep on full throttle. For some reason I released the throttle and I lost a lot of time when the power of the cards were put back on. A bit of a shame, but I'm learning basically every lap that I'm running. Not only did I lose the toe of the cars in front, but I also put me in a position where I had to defend. For the next 10 minutes or so, I was losing time to the pack in front lap by lap, but at the same time I wasn't under pressure. So let's just skip towards the entertaining finish. For the majority of the race I wasn't even on the same straightaway of the pack in front. But they started battling and in just a matter of 2 laps I was allowed to catch up. Just like that, I'm in a 5-car battle for 3rd place. Currently I am in 7th position, but I smell blood in the water. The 1-lap board is out. This was it. I now got 40 seconds to open up this gift I was given and try to make up a position or 2. I tried to have a look on the inside of the 23 card. It wasn't enough to even try and go for the position, but now he knows I'm there and he has to look forwards and backwards. Seeing the cards in front going side by side, I knew they would sacrifice some speed. I tried to set up my corner as good as possible with a strong exit, and I was able to get some overspeed. With the 6 and the 23 driving side by side, I had to pick a car to bump draft, and I went for the card on the inside, hoping that the shorter route would pay off. It did, and I was able to clinch 6th place with a difference of 700ths of a second. I had no business finishing that high up in this race, but sometimes you just gotta take what's being gifted to you. Let's jump straight into the 2nd heat. This time my qualifying was worse. I only managed to qualify 10th for my 2nd heat. For the 7 kilo category which I'm racing in, despite weighing 80 kilos, but whatever, this was the 3rd heat of the day. Before the heat started we had a separate driver's briefing to tell us we had to race cleaner. The marshals were constantly handing out warnings and penalties. In the start you can also see why. I got bumped around like a pinball. Disrespectful driving also caused a red flag and another warning to all of us that our driving has to improve. Let's move on to the restart of the 2nd heat then. Initially this seems like a much cleaner start. I'm not getting bumped around in the first corners and I learned my lesson to not defend against a ghost in the first left-hander. I actually take like a nice entry and get a small bump, but nothing too bad. And yeah, from there on it seems like a clean race. But from here on it's pure chaos. The 03 car brakes too early and causes the 04 to run into the back of him. Somehow I also get a massive push from behind, pushing me completely loose. I have no idea who it was, but I was just stuck. But it doesn't end there. Someone takes it 3 wide, pushing me into the 04 car. The 04 car then retaliates, it seems like. Then I get pushed again under braking, making me overshoot at hairpin. I have no clue what position I'm in. All I know is that I lost a few positions and that a lot of drivers forgot their brain in the cafeteria. At this moment I am trying to recover from that mayhem where I pulled a short straw. I hope nobody sends it from kilometers behind and that I can get into a rhythm. Right now I'm a bit pissed off and my focus is everywhere except where it should be. I'm trying to pull my focus back in and just try to attack the track, focus on my braking and steering, and get a further feel of the kart on warmer time. What happens is that everything calms down a bit. It seems like there is a little bit of spacing in between all the karts and everyone is trying to get into a rhythm. So let's skip to the parts which are a bit more interesting. Here you see the O2 kart setting up to the inside of the 23 kart. I try to take an advantage of that and position my kart in a way that the 23 cannot get onto the racing line. Unfortunately for me, he has the inside on the next corner and gets me back. In front of us in the meantime there's another battle going on, and just like that we are in the same chaos we were as in lap 1. I just hope that this time I can make it work into my advantage. The 23 kart goes a bit wide on turn 1 and I try to take advantage of that. He still has an overlap, so I cannot apex a left-hander, but I have the inside on this little hairpin right. I fully commit and make the pass stick. Now let's hope I can create the slightest of gaps and keep looking forward. Also the O2 kart goes a bit wide in this turn. I think he clipped the curb zone slightly. He sets up his kart smartly though. He makes sure he has the inside on the next hairpin, so here he has the inside, and I try to get a nice run on the outside and then hopefully strike on the next straight. But my overspeed wasn't enough, or is it? We're going side by side, full throttle, both of us, giving each other a lot of space, or at least enough space, and I think I made the best stick right here, but then he comes back. He still has his nose in there and makes sure I can't apex. Really good driving. And then for the next turn I have to lift quite a bit because the bumps on the outside are quite bad. And then the 23 kart comes by again. So here we are, back again in the same position and in the thick of a battle. What I also spotted in the last turn and in this hairpin is a flash of shadow. This means we're not just in a 3 kart but at least in a 4 kart battle. I cannot leave any doors open or I will lose even more positions. At this moment I am thinking about how and where I can strike. The 23 kart is driving really well and I feel like I'm not faster, but also not slower. Also with the pressure behind I do not want to go for a full send, risking to lose another position. The O2, 23, me and the kart behind were racing around the track like a freight train for a couple of laps. No real attempts for overtaking were made, but there was a constant pressure between all the drivers. Up until this moment. The 23 makes a small mistake and I have to check up. Again I find myself in a situation where I'm on the outside of all the full throttle turns, but on the inside of the next left-hander. But I learned from last time. I went in with more speed and a lot deeper than last time, putting me on the inside of the hairpin and making sure I keep my position. Or, at least for now. On the next turns, however, I do not get another attack from the car behind and I can start building onto a rhythm again and try to find a way around the 23 kart. Once again we find ourselves in a position where we are basically stalemate. All drivers are just putting in their laps and there's a little bit of an accordion effect. Sometimes the gap is a little bit bigger, sometimes the gap is a little bit smaller, but in the end there's not really an attempt for overtaking. Up until this very moment. I sense a possibility and send it to the inside. We barely touch, if we even touch at all. And somehow in my mind it registers as an illegal pass. I think the combination of being pinballed around and the briefing made me decide this. I should have just kept on racing and the marshals do their thing, because I do not only give the position back, but I also lose an additional position to the number 10 kart. Those are 2 positions which I literally gave away. Immediately I feel like an idiot. I try to get back into a groove, making the best out of these last couple of laps. Again the 4 of us accordion a bit. There aren't really overtake attempts and we race towards the final lap. Going into the final lap it feels like I'm going to finish 12th. The gap in front is too big and I have no way to make up that much time. Even if they battle they got big enough of a cushion to keep me behind, or at least that's what I thought. 23 makes a huge mistake and it allows the 10 kart to go through. Suddenly I find myself on the rear bumper of position 11, and then he makes another mistake. We are going side by side into the second half of the lap. I find myself on the inside of the final hairpin, and from there it feels like it is mine. I can apex a corner, carry all the speed on the exit and race towards the finish line. From starting 10th to dropping back to God knows where and finishing 11th, I feel like this could have been a better heat, but I made some bad decisions and made too many mistakes. Time to jump into heat 3. I don't know how, but I qualified 4th. Driving towards the grid, I could feel the imposter syndrome sneaking in, and spoiler alert, I choked it up big time. Up until this day, I cannot believe on how bad I raced that heat. My mind was constantly wandering off, telling me I didn't belong that far up front of the grid, and instead of focusing on the track and my racing, I just I don't know what was happening. But let's see how it all unfolds. The start was very clean, no bumping, no crashing. Immediately it feels like I do not have the pace to keep up with the 3 drivers in front of me, but at the same time there was the tiniest of gaps behind me, so I started to calm down. Or at least it was up until the leaders started battling. While they trip each other up, I feel like I can take advantage of that and maybe even gain a spot. But I am unable to make the pass stick, and immediately P5 is knocking on my front door. Right now you are going to witness the biggest freight train ever. While the 20 and 08 cars were tripping each other up, I also had to left mid-corner, ruining my momentum. After that I completely misjudged on how close P5 was, and I leave the door wide open. But all the cars behind me are bumper to bumper. I have zero chance to get back on the racing line, and I get pushed backwards so far that my good qualifying spot didn't even matter anymore. Can you count how many positions I lose? That was the end of it, but my whole race is basically ruined. I tried to get back into a rhythm and at least try to make up some positions. With a 10 and a 24 battling in front, I might actually gain some positions. During that battle, the 24 car makes a mistake right here, and I am able to take advantage of that, moving up one more position. For the laps that followed, I tried to get into a rhythm and just drive as fast as possible, hoping to gain some time to the drivers in front. Then, out of the blue, this guy passes me. I had no clue someone was following me that closely. He was also very efficient in his attack, as that was his first attempt and he made the pass stick immediately. I was getting gapped by the 10 card. I just hoped I could clinch onto the back of the 09. Just as I look back to see how much margin we have to battle, the 09 card goes a bit wide and I'm able to get alongside. I'm unable to make the pass, but it gave me a bit of confidence for the final few laps. Exactly 1 lap later, it is deja vu. The 09 makes a mistake, I get alongside, but I don't have enough overspeed to get in front and close the door. The 09 gets back on the inside and we bumper to bumper again. For the next few laps I lose the tow completely and I'm in no man's land. Nobody in front, nobody behind, I'm just driving on my own. So I will forward to the final 2 laps of the race. The 2-lap board is out. Now pay attention to the battle far ahead. The 10 card gets smacked out of the way by the 09 card. I'm not close enough to take advantage, but let's forward a bit more. There is an orange flag for the 09 card. That means that the race directors considered his move illegal and he has to give the position back to the 10 card. That means with 1 lap to go, he has to slow down somewhere and give that position back. My plan now is to stay as close as possible to the car in front and hopefully take advantage of the penalty of the 09 card. At this point I'm even wondering if he saw the orange flag. He's keeping it absolutely bit and not looking back. Or does he have a different ID? He indeed had a different ID and took his penalty to perfection. He slowed down just enough to let the 10 car by again, but did it close enough to the finish line so I could not get past. After qualifying 4th, I finished 9th in this heat. It feels like a huge what could have been, but considering the pace I had, I think this was a fair result. Now time for the final heat of the day. I'm qualified as 9th. During the start I get jumped immediately. I guess that's where those 10 kilos too many come into play. I almost lose the second position as well, but I'm lucky enough to have the inside and be able to defend. Then only a few corners later, this 06 and the 23 card are gonna battle a little bit, and the 23 card gets pushed a little bit wide. I am able to take another position back, and here we are, just back where we started. We are going to stay on board for a bit as some interesting battles are going on. Those were a lot of positions lost. I'm going to use a driver's excuse. I should say that this card wasn't as fast as the other ones. I felt that I was losing time on the straights, and despite sometimes getting a corner just right, that also the exit speed wasn't fully there. And it's not a big difference because I must say, well done karting all in all, the cars were very equal, but the difference is enough to make an average driver like me struggle and feel lost in the race. For a long time the 17, 23 and me were driving bumper to bumper and working together. catching the cards ahead. Up until this moment, we are nearing the end of the race and caught the 2 cards in front. It's time to try and make some moves. And I indeed tried to make a move, but failed. I tried to send it to the inside of the 17 card, but I wasn't near enough. Besides that it made me lose a lot of time, it also gave me a warning flag and I have to watch my driving for the rest of the heat. We are here in the final lap. After that failed move I was able to get back to the 17 car, but not really close enough to make a move. At this moment I'm not even on its bumper anymore. We will finish this final heat today in 13th position. In the overall classifications I finished 10th out of 26 drivers and I finished 2nd amongst the wildcars daily drivers, which are 3 different nations represented on the podium. I had a blast racing here in Oldenzaal. Thank you to Kartmasters NIW for organizing, and thank you to Karting Oldenzaal for the good cards. They were truly even. I will see you all next weekend in Hagen.